Open Your Eyes is brought to you by the Belize Bank, our country, your bank, and Smart, bringing people together.
Live from the GPM studios in Belize City, it's Open Your Eyes. Start your morning right with your hosts, April Martinez and Isani Caetano.
Good morning and welcome to Open Your Eyes.
Start your morning right.
I am Isani Caetano.
And I'm April Martinez. Good morning, Belize. Good morning,
Good
Isani.
morning, my friend. Today is Monday, June 1st.
It is the 1st of June.
Yes, it's the first of the month. It's also the kickoff of the hurricane season
It
2026. But we'll get into all of that later on, right? Good morning once
Good
again.
morning, good morning.
I feel like I haven't shared the culture with you in quite a bit.
In a bit, indeed. It's been a while, but it's good to be here with you. It's good to be here with you. It's been raining cats and dogs
In Belmopan.
In Belmopan.
Mighty warm last night on this side, but yes.
No, it was thundering and lightning. All the way up to probably about Hattieville, for real.
Okay.
It was raining really hard. But I also understand you guys experienced your own showers last week, where we didn't experience
Yeah,
any, so we had a little opposite going on.
For me though, that was more than welcome.
Yeah.
Only
We
because
needed it.
the previous days, previous weeks were scorching.
Yeah,
so
it was bad.
the rain and my little reprieve, right? We get to leave it with that.
But you know, it is not just the start of hurricane season, but it's also the start of the rainy season.
Yes.
And so we are going to be possibly continuously expecting these showers of
nothing wrong with that,
blessings.
man. We need
No.
it.
We need the rain, indeed. We do. But speaking of hurricane preparedness, Isani, what do we have for the show this morning?
Yes, it's fitting because this morning we're going to be having extended conversations discussing the hurricane season, hurricane preparedness, and everything that has to do with June to November. So here we go. All right, our first conversation is preparedness starts at home. NEMO and CEMO are getting Belize ready for hurricane season 2026. Then we're going to be discussing with the Belize Met Service on forecast, storms, and weather alerts. Subsequent to that, we're going to be doing somewhat of a flood watch, right? Understanding how water rises and preparing ourselves for flood.
Right.
And then finally, we're going to go in a slightly different but related direction, right? BL is going to be joining us to discuss their hurricane preparations as well for the season, right? So the next few months, as I've said, from June to November, it's all about the Atlantic hurricane season 2026. Now, from what I'm understanding, it's going to be below average this time around.
Yeah.
But does not mean that something can't form out there and come our way with the intensity that it has in other parts of the world previously.
I mean, even with the prediction, Isani, these hurricanes are still very much unpredictable. And I know for a lot of people might not remember, but I always think about Hurricane Mitch. I always think about Hurricane Mitch, and we were
You never
all
too young for that?
Listen, we were all preparing to evacuate because we were sure.
man.
We were sure that he was coming, and then at the very last minute, he just took a. I
I'll put
always
this out
think
there.
about
I'll
that.
put this out there, right?
Yes.
Only because I'll share a little tidbit of my life with the public, with the world, right? So my only memory from Hurricane Mitch was that, man, I was dealing with my first broken heart.
So you don't have anything about hurricane?
No, check this out, right? Fresh out of high school, I think I was going into sixth form at the time, coming out of a relationship, and then the hurricane came. No, there was no internet. Well, there was internet, but
It
very,
wasn't like
very,
that.
like, you know, starters, so to
Yeah.
speak, right? And then I got a Belmopan, right? And I remember sheltering at Our Lady of Guadalupe with my mom and my dad, my family, and my uncle, who at the time was the priest in charge of Belmopan Diocese,
I'm
right?
my uncle.
Yeah, so we were there, and then I don't know where my we were going through it. But that's the only remembrance. Like, yo, if I think of hurricane,
So Hurricane Mitch, you think about a heartbreak.
But I
That's
leave
wild,
that there. I leave
Isani.
that there. Yeah,
Everybody
yeah,
defend
yeah,
for their
yeah.
life and decided to go through it. But that's not on the 5 things that we need to know for this morning. But let's get into some topics that we'll be discussing, some topics that I think are worthy of your opinion, our lovely viewers this morning. So here we go on the 5 things that we think you need to know. One of the things that has been buzzing throughout the entire weekend is a bit of a political backlash between the Minister of Foreign Affairs and the former Home Affairs, Oscar Mira, Honorable Oscar Mira, thank you, and the former UDP Chairman Alberto August. And so now we have the former leader of the opposition, Shine Barrow, getting into the conversation, asking for immediate release of the former chairman. And we'll talk a little bit more about those details and how we got there. Second item on the list to discuss. We had it in our newscast on Friday, Sane. The former police corporal Elmer Na is ruled guilty for the 2022 triple murder. That was a huge topic of conversation over the weekend. The president, and it's just on the continuing on the Belizean front. Belize hits pause on coastal development. We had the Prime Minister of Belize talking about coastal development and where we are with certain investments. Finally, on the international side, polls open in Colombia as they are going through a pivotal presidential election. Actually, they're still going through that right as we speak. They haven't selected a winner yet. And lastly, Isani attended a celebrity wedding.
Like that,
So, no, but we saw it all over social media, and of course, he's going to tell us a little bit about who's and who's not on the list of invitees. But no, we want to end it on a light note. But before
it's too early to put me on Front Street.
No, well, you put yourself on the front street when you talk about heartbreak with Hurricane Mitch. But just for viewers and a little bit of content, we know that on Friday there was the horrible, brutal murder of Dr. Naun Bonilla in Las Flores. And that is my cousin, that is a family of mine. And so we are going through it right now. And within all of the hullabaloo and just all of the chaos, Isani, people were saying things. We had political leaders making statements. We heard from the chief of police. We heard from so many people about the investigation and so forth. And within all of that mix, people were saying certain things that the Minister of Home Affairs said about the family, about the murder, which later on turned out not to be true. But in the event, it became less about the tragedy and more about politics, which doesn't sit right with me. What was later on stated by the former chairman of the UDP, Mr. Alberto August, basically stating that the Honorable Oscar Mira said that the person was not from Belmopan and therefore this is not a Belmopan matter. And then you hear a backlash from the Honorable Oscar Mira saying, I did not say that, and he went through a long tangent on Facebook. And then we end with the detainment of Alberto August for, I believe, 48 hours.
Yes.
Right? And now we have the leader of the opposition calling for his release, because they're saying that he could state what he needs to state online. It's freedom of speech. Honorable Oscar Mira is saying this is cyberbullying and therefore they're inflicting the cyberbullying act, detaining Alberto August.
All right, just let's be a little clearer, just for the
Yes.
benefit of our viewers, right? So, I think it's regrettable when we take a situation that is tragic.
Yes.
In this case, my condolence to you and your family and to the family of the late Dr. Bonilla. It's difficult for me to wrap my head around the fact that you could take something that is tragic and a family is grieving and a 5-year-old little girl who experiences dramatic ordeal now has to live through that, and then you politicize it or you put a spin on it, right? Now, as you rightly mentioned, the focus has shifted away from what actually took place in Las Flores that morning to now a bucking of heads between people who are, for all intents and purposes, pretty much having a pissing contest.
Yeah.
Right? But in the mix of it, right, I wouldn't want to get lost on certain things here. In the mix of it, there is what some would argue as the exercise of freedom of speech, and on the other hand, what some would argue as, well, you're basically using an online platform to target someone with these forms of criticism. So those are the two sides of the coin at hand, right? But again, when I think about this thing, right, my primary interest is to know what actually happened that morning in Belmopan.
Indeed.
That resulted in this vehicle coming under armed attack that ended with Dr. Naun Bonia losing his life while reportedly taking his daughter to school that morning, right? I don't care about the noise between the politician and the former chairman. That should not have been the topic of interest for anybody who's following what happened there, right?
Yeah.
But here we are, right? Now we're arguing freedom of expression versus cyberbullying. Now, I'll also go a little further, and this is just my personal opinion, based on what I've observed over the past few years or so.
Yeah.
So, this piece of law was enacted in 2020. And since then, a number of people have been dragged before the courts because, one, they feel that those persons were cyberbullying them, and so they filed a claim, a report, and they went before the court. And in some other instances, it feels as if though that very same piece of law is being weaponized to target certain people who are very open with their criticisms of those in power,
especially
or those
online.
who wield power, right?
Yeah.
So it's a very, very delicate thing you're looking at. Because if you're a regular individual, just using an example, if you're a regular individual and someone takes to Facebook or any platform on social media and they disparage your character and they're going at you relentlessly, you, the regular person, supposed to be able to seek some recourse against that, right?
Yeah. Agreed.
This person, they constantly attack me on Facebook or Instagram or whatever platform they use. I need now to file a complaint, take this thing before the court so that this person can stop that malicious or defamatory act, right? But then when you're a public person, like if you hold public office, then to some extent, you should be open to public criticisms. So if we're talking about leadership, if we're talking about management style and stuff like that, then somebody's supposed to say, well, I don't feel satisfied with how you handle that, and here is my 2 cents on it. Yeah. So where do we, in my opinion, where do we measure having a thicker skin for the office that you hold versus saying, well, I'll just use a piece of land and come at you because you're not supposed to say nothing about me or nothing about how I manage or how I lead.
What I hate about
I think I'm being fair in looking at both sides of the argument from that point of view.
What I hate about it, Isani, is that the Cyberbullying Act was first initially brought out because people were going through scandalous, very defamatory issues online, nude photos, horrible videos, like people sharing these very, very bad things about other people that really were in the business of exploiting and defaming others. And so this act was supposed to protect people from stuff like that. Now you're seeing it being used for people's own agenda. One of the other things that I hate that came out of this incident is that we're talking about things like free speech, right? But if the free speech is inaccurate, then you have to be able to speak against it, right? And what I'm seeing now, after Alberto August was detained, is that you have other members of his party that reshared his post. I saw the Honorable John Saldiva, the former Honorable John Saldiva, she reshared that same post. I saw Yellow Man reshare that post. You see other people reshare that same inaccurate information post, saying, okay, well, if the man want to get the 10, make it the 10 all within for the reshare the exact same post, which in my brain adds on to the misinterpretation of facts. It continues to do the thing that we're saying, that it takes away from the actual root of the issue. Somebody was murdered brutally and we're trying to figure it out. And you're playing party politics and you're continuously spreading this false information.
Okay,
online.
so just for a second here, right? There is always a responsibility on the individual who is disseminating information, especially if it's about someone else,
Yeah.
right? That responsibility falls squarely on you to make sure that what you're sharing is accurate. And factual, right?
Yes.
Because at the end of the day, we hold our reputation dearly, right? So I certainly, I'll speak for myself, I certainly hold my reputation dearly. So if someone is going to publish or spread something about me, it has to be something that they know is rooted in some factual basis. So I can't argue back that and ever that.
Right.
No, anything short of that, then you're targeting my reputation, which I hold so very dearly.
Right.
I'm just using it as an example. So I supposed to could say, well, look, boss, you out there, they put out a whole pile of foolishness. We're not accurate. We're completely defame me, or you know. And so that is the responsibility that these people should have, or anyone should have for that matter.
Yeah.
And I don't know where either Mr. August fell woefully short of that, or if he believes that what he was sharing is actually factual. That's not for me to decide, right? But again, and I'll leave it at this and we'll move on. Here we are again, completely shifting the point of this all away from a grieving family in Belmopan
Yeah.
to politics as usual,
Yeah.
right? And I think it's most regrettable. But let me move on. We'll leave that there for now.
Our next topic of conversation, former police corporal Elmer Na is ruled guilty for the 2022 triple murder. That was also
that was our headline on Friday.
On Friday.
Right? Man, I'll, before we get into the lengthy decision that was handed down by Justice Pilgrim, I'll just sort of describe the atmosphere, right? Because I think it's important for people to understand this whole build-up that led to Friday, right? So when we woke up on New Year's Day 2023, it was to this sad and tragic news of 3 people being attacked inside a home in Belmopan. At that time, 2 of the brothers had already passed. Vivian Belize Ramnarius was still hospitalized, right, for a period of about 48 hours or so after the vicious attack. During that time, she gave a statement, right? And to me, the full circle moment came when the judge, in delivering this ruling, said the statement was so vivid, right? And it perfectly lines up with some of the other evidence that was brought into the case. It's almost surreal, but again, I'm digressing a bit. Let's go back to the atmosphere, right? So, during this entire period of time, since Mr. Na was arrested and charged, to the dispensation of justice on Friday, the man changed so much liar.
Yeah.
So much thing going on during that period of time, right? There was even a point, if my recollection serves me well, where they entered an establishment, right? Looking for, I don't know, evidence or surveilling the place, and then the people felt kind of weird. All kind of thing happened during the time, right? Well, outside council came in, everything happened. But fast forward to Friday, the Belal and Ramnarius families were out there at the High Court waiting for this outcome because by then the entire process had been exhausted, right? We done gone through the trial phase, the man made the trial enter and no submission, and that never worked. Boom, so we're there now Friday.
Yeah.
And I was not there,
Okay.
but I saw the images, and pictures like video tell 1,000 words, right? So when you see that exhalation from the family when the decision was handed down, guilty on all counts, including the attempted murder of the woman who got away with her life,
Yeah.
guilty on all counts. I think this is the beginning of that closure for the family, right? Yeah. Because justice, if you look at it, that image just now, that's powerful in and of itself, right? These people have waited for so long to hear from the court as to whether or not Mr. Na is guilty or not guilty of these charges that were preferred on him, right? So guilty as charged. I think from where I look at it, it's the beginning of that actual process of closure. Because this was hanging over their heads from January 1st, 2023 to May
29th.
Exactly, 2026. Matter of about 3 years or so, but that in itself is a lifetime if you're trying to find closure and move on with your life.
I think one of the starking moments was watching Mr. Na come out.
Yeah.
Very silent.
Yeah.
Because all of the times that we've covered his case, every time we're
He'd shout at
outside,
the
he'd
camera?
shout at the camera, he'd shout at the family, he'd shout at us, and very, very much no words. All he did was just stare at the family, right? And I think for me, even that speaks 1,001 words, that exact moment right there.
I'll say this from my end. At least from me,
Right.
we still don't know where going on, what led to what happened.
We don't know why.
That will forever be a
Yes.
mystery to me. What precipitated this attack, right? Was Mr. Na the singular actor in this whole thing, or was he doing so on behalf of someone else, or who else was in on it? None of the questions for me, I don't know that I've gotten those answers.
No, nobody has. And I think that's the other step to closure for the family, right? So we have, justice has been served for our 3, even 4 victims, because even though the young lady got away with her life, that is still trauma for the rest of her life. So the fact that
and the
we all
child
got,
who
and the
is
child
without
as well,
her mother and
her
father as a result
parents.
of this thing.
You know, so we still want to be able to, we have a lot of unanswered questions. I don't know if we'll ever get those answers, Isane.
Well, I know
Hopefully time
sentencing
will
date
tell.
is set for June 18th, right?
Yes.
And I'll say this, and again we could move on because we're kind of short on time, right?
Yes.
To me, from where I sit in the newsroom, it's one of the most followed criminal trials, second only to Danny Mason et al.
Yeah.
Right?
That's true.
To say that we've been following this
entire
thing from the
country
very
was
beginning,
watching.
and we've gone through the whole 9 years with it.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Well, let's end on a light note, if you will, Isane. How was your weekend?
Restful.
Restful?
I feel like it. Okay. Let's walk it back a little bit.
No. I had to throw it in there.
So, over the weekend, because a lot of people may talk about this whole thing Thursday and Friday, right? What manifestos in Belize? You arrived at the PGIA and people
I thought it was a joke.
in their whole
'cause
thing,
people,
right? But I'll say this, right? So I got a phone call. This would have been Thursday in the newsroom, just before news. I'm like, it's a number that I'm not familiar with. Get a phone call. So initially I missed the call, but I saw the name. It's like, okay, I just text the person, kind of call back, right? The person calls back right away. So he introduces himself. Then he asks, I'm not sure if you know who I am, right? But by then, I done my own mode. I don't figure, okay, yeah, I know who you are. So long story short, right? Person calls, says, hi, Isane, I'm Dave Mays, right? I'm not sure if you know who I am. I said, yes. Then I go back to the Source magazine. But remember now, I had a true hip hop head. Like I'm there with
in
that, right?
his words, he was fangirling. He just don't want to tell on that.
No, I don't reach that part there yet. Working, man. I don't reach that part there yet. No, but so immediately I made this calculation. Okay, yeah, I know who you are. Goes back to the Source magazine and
Right.
what have you. Then he says, okay, you know what? I'm here in the country. I'm going to get married on Saturday. And I'd like for you to attend my wedding, right? Then in the same conversation, he's saying, okay, do you know of a podcast called Still 400? I said, of course I do,
Yeah.
right? Again, kind of a hip hop bag. I follow all of these things,
Yeah.
right? Vlad TV, Still 400, Art of Dialogue, Matt Hoffa, all of these guys I do follow. So I'm aware of it. So the podcasters are Juvenile and Manny Fresh, right? So he says, they're coming in to do a podcast during the wedding event. Let me put it that way.
Okay.
During the wedding event, but they're looking at tourism and Belize, right?
Okay.
So I'll pause for a second and commend the Director of Tourism, Evan Tillett, and Shine Barrow for being guests on the podcast and being able to speak so fondly about this country that we all love and we're marketing with the rest of the world. I was able to sit in on the entire podcast, and those two gentlemen did us well.
Okay.
Right? So again, kudos to Mr. Tillett and kudos to Mr. Barrow for putting Belize out there the way it should be, right? But yes, so get an exclusive invitation, Ghana Prince Island. Now Prince Island is a piece is a key basically owned by James Prince, who's also a label owner, one of the well-known rap labels, Rap-A-Lot Records, from Houston, Texas, right? So this exclusive wedding took place there between Mr. Mays and his wife. Now his wife is a former producer for the Oprah Winfrey Network.
Yeah.
Right? And so all the nuptials and everything happened, right? And I'll share a funny moment, because this is the part that for me is one of the good takeaways in all of it, right? So there's a part of it which is a Jewish tradition where they break the glass, right?
Mazel tov.
Yes, nobody not got no glass.
No? At a wedding?
Nobody not got no glass, right? So Shine and I are sitting next to each other, front row, right? And he has a glass of wine in his hand. Mali boy dashed the wine so fast I brought the glass. Everybody just broke out into a laughing. That was amazing. Right? But I mean, it's one of those weddings that people outside of Belize, because of the whole hip hop thing, people are going to be talking about. They've already had enough chatter about it, especially for those people who saw these individuals come into the country at the PGIA. That's where the chatter began.
They're trying to figure out why they were here. But I mean, all amazing aside, I'm not a big hip hop head like Isani, but when he asked, do you know who these people are? Duh. Who doesn't, right?
Yeah, I know who that Manny Fresh and Juvenile,
of course,
right?
you know who Manny Fresh, and that like old hip hop days. They were old producers at the time. Some of my favorite songs
if you're a true
come
music
from
fan,
them.
you would know the Source magazine. That's where it all started. I remember as a Lee boy, I grew up with Source magazine. I missed lunch money I spent for buy magazine. Yeah, so that's where that goes back to.
But I think also for this to be like one of those celebrity weddings that happen here in Belize, that's major for us, because Belize is one of those spaces that people often market as a wedding destination area. So for them to choose Belize and to choose an exclusive island, that does bode well for us. That does put us on the map, tourism, when you're talking about tourism. So excellent. Isani had a wonderful weekend, guys.
And I'll leave off on this note, right? See, and I'll be very sincere and deliberate here. See, a lot of us Belizeans, politics aside, we do everything to talk bad about Shine. We disparage at every turn, right? But the man is steadfast in being able to promote Belize to the rest of the world. So if you like him or you don't like him, that's a matter of personal preference, but you can't take away from the fact that the man is the flag bearer for this country at every moment he gets. And I give him his respect for that.
Yeah.
No politics, no nothing. It's simple. Whenever he gets a platform, for him it's Belize first. And he's acting in the capacity of an ambassador to promote Belize and Belizeans and Belizean culture.
That's
You
what
have
we
to
need.
respect
That's
that.
what we need. But I want to go into some of the comments before we close off our, talking session this morning, Isani. Thank you so much, Sonia, for your condolences, and good morning to everyone. Romeo Rosado is saying to be able to criticize the government is what democracy looks like, and he's talking based on the note of the Cyberbullying Act. Manny Gio says, somebody asked Isani what he thought about Jay-Z's freestyle.
Oh, man, all right.
No, we don't have time.
I left that for another time.
We don't have time. But clearly you struck a nerve there.
Yeah, and the man gone off and everybody. Look,
so
I'll
there
leave
you
this,
go.
just answer to Manager
Oi.
really quickly. Bro, I watched the entire Roots Picnic concert yesterday 3 times over. And the first part with the 3-minute freestyle and he's going at everybody.
So
leave it at that.
there is your answer, Manny. You see where you start, that kind of worms. But of course, good morning to all of our viewers that are locked in and tuning in with us this morning. If you have any opinions on any of the conversations that we had, please let us know in the comment section below. All right, so we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to begin our Hurricane Preparedness Morning Show. You don't want to go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Connected in the USA for as low as $10. With Smart Roaming Data Pass, staying connected is simple and affordable. Get the data you need starting at 1,000 megabytes to stay connected to larger plans that keep you online while you travel across the USA. So you can message, browse, video call, and navigate wherever you go. No SIM swap, no bill shock. Just simple, affordable pricing. Activate easily by dialing *100# using the Smart app or online. Smart Roaming Data Pass. Staying connected the smart way. Smart, bringing people together.
Prepare for the sweltering heat with a Ream AC unit to keep you and your family cool and cozy. Get the recommended BTU for your bedroom or living room and enjoy complete comfort. You can also save some much-needed cash with an inverter unit, which provides superior energy efficiency. When the heat is on, stay cool with an affordable, dependable AC unit from Ream. Available at Benny's. Quality and savings.
The future is calling. Belize Bank. Your future, our commitment.
Welcome back to Open Your Eyes, and thank you so much for joining us. Our first 3 conversations will all be about hurricane preparedness, hurricane watch, and of course, what our friends at the various services are doing to prepare us, but of course, how we as citizens can prepare ourselves. And joining us on the couch, we have Tanil Hende, and she is a chief hydrologist. Good morning. Good morning. And joining her, we have Melanie Dawson, and she's liaison officer over at CEMO. Good morning.
Good morning.
We have Mr. Daniel Mendez. He is a national emergency coordinator over at NEMO. Good morning. Good morning. And we have the chief meteorologist, Ronald Gordon. We hear him all the time. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
So today is all about preparedness that starts at the home. This particular conversation is how NEMO and CEMO are getting Belize ready for hurricane season, but of course what we as citizens can do to prepare at home. So let's start with what we can expect for our hurricane season this year.
Okay, sure. Good morning again, and thanks for having us this morning. So when we look at the seasonal prediction, most agencies are expecting or are predicting we're going to have just below normal in terms of hurricane activity. So what do I mean by normal? We are looking at the average from a baseline period of 1991 to 2020. And over those years, an average hurricane season consists of 14 named storms. That's tropical storms and above, winds of 39 miles per hour and over. Of those 14, 7 typically become hurricanes, winds of 74 miles per hour or over. And of those 7 hurricanes, we typically get 3 major hurricanes, category 3 and higher, 111 miles per hour and more. This year we have we also have 2 main factors that we look at. That's how warm the Atlantic is. That's the source of energy for these systems in our area. And when we're looking at that, we're seeing warmer than average waters in the Atlantic. So there's the energy there. But there's a suppressing factor, and that's an El Nino, which many persons may have heard about.
Super El Nino.
Super, that's the word that is being hyped up out there.
There's no such thing, right?
Well, I would say a strong El Nino. But certainly it's an exceptional El Nino this year. Some models are showing about up to 3 degrees Celsius warmer waters in the Pacific. So in that area, that means there'll be more tropical cyclone activity, and therefore stronger wind shear over us. What do I mean by wind shear? That's the difference between the winds at the lower levels and the higher levels of the atmosphere. Those tend to disrupt hurricanes forming in the Atlantic Ocean. So that's a suppressing factor, and given those combination, we are expecting just below normal, which from NOAA in particular, they're going for 8 to 14 named storms. Of those, 3 to 6 could become hurricanes, and 1 to 3 major hurricanes. I will always, as I always say, the numbers are just numbers. We need to be focused and prepared. It only takes 1 hurricane to hit us for it to be an active season for us.
Yeah. Category, Lisa was only a category 1.
Indeed.
Right. So I really wanted to discuss the hurricane season for this year, only because the way that the weather and the climate is changing from about 5 years ago now, we're seeing very intense hurricanes, or we're seeing no hurricanes that pass through Belize, by the grace of God, really. But how is the technology advancing here in Belize as you all continue to predict these weather occurrences, and are we able to keep up with these advancements?
I would say we are. First of all, I will speak from the global perspective. We have seen that weather observations in particular have increased significantly from the early days, and that has contributed to the improvement in weather in tropical cyclone track prediction especially. I always give the example, of course, of Hurricane Melissa last year. A system moving due west south of Jamaica with all models indicating there'll be a curvature towards southern Jamaica, and that eventually materialized. So certainly, we are seeing that improvement. On the local scene, we're also contributing to that improvement. Our weather observation network has become so dense that we are one of the most, I would say, in Central America and the Caribbean, a country with the most weather observations across the country. We recently included a storm surge monitoring station at the Fisheries Department to also monitor storm surge. So we are making strides in terms of monitoring and tracking these systems.
You know what is my biggest issue as a layman? Is when I know and appreciate the work that you guys do to make weather forecasting as local as possible. But when there's an event that's or a system out there, for some reason people still go to all other sources other than the actual Belizean information, so to speak. How do you guys combat that? Because with social media and with information floating out there in the ether, everybody now becomes a forecaster.
Everybody down with that, man.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, I agree. So we try to combat it by having our own social media accounts. We have a Facebook page. I believe we have a YouTube channel. We need to populate it a bit more. But certainly we are trying to combat it by having our own social media. People don't go to traditional media anymore. We have a website. I would say it's pretty impressive, but people prefer the Facebook and the social media pages. Also, we do have a weather app, Belize Weather, both on Android and Apple devices that you can download and use. But as I always say, it's impossible to stop persons from looking at what they want to look at. There's a vast amount of information out there, as you rightly said. I always remind persons that we are responsible for providing weather forecast for Belize. Therefore, we are accountable. So if something happens, we didn't prepare you or we didn't give you enough warning, then of course you come back to us. But if you're looking at some other person out there, that person is not accountable. So if you are following him for guidance and you were not prepared, you cannot go to him and say, you know what, you
misled me.
You misled me. He is not accountable. We are responsible here and we have a stake in it. Our families live here.
Yeah.
Well, Mr. Mendes is the head of this overall apparatus that's called NEMO, right? And I think your shoulders are heavy, especially more when we have a system that is forming or one that is imminent in terms of landfall in Belize. What has that job been like for you in terms of one, being able to remain ahead of everything that's taking place, not only out at sea, but primarily here on land for preparations and being able to mobilize people should there be an eventuality?
Okay, thank you. I want to go back to your first question about who we rely on. So we at NEMO, when I say NEMO, we have to go back to what NEMO is. NEMO is a system, right? NEMO is not one organization. Yeah. It's not just one organization that we make all the decisions and we say everything. So NEMO is an entire system. It includes all of government, all departments, all organizations, including all the people of Belize are part of NEMO. So when we say we rely on information, we rely on science. And the science that we rely on is science provided to us from the Met Service and from the Hydrology Department. And so those are the people we rely on. Those are the scientific component of NEMO that'll help us to make those decisions that need to be made. So what we have been doing is doing as much as we can in strengthening government itself, ensuring that we have provided the training and the support to our government partners, ensuring that they have the support needed to carry out their part of the entire function. The second thing we have been doing is working with our municipal partners, such as CEMO, to ensure that there is a plan at each municipality and that everyone knows what they need to do. Then the third thing we have been doing is putting out a lot of outreach through our own social media, ensuring there's a lot of information out there so people know what to do, where to get information from. And so that's the part of the approach that we have been taking to ensure that we are, as best as we can, ready for this hurricane season.
I find it very, I have to give you all your flowers, really, because for as much as, like Isani mentioned, you all do so much. At the end of the day, all of the outreach, all of the information, it is there, and it's up to us as citizens to take heed of it and actually plan ahead. But NEMO isn't just for hurricanes,
No.
right?
No.
The establishment of the National Emergency Organization was to ensure that everyone is well equipped to withstand any sort of disaster, whether that be natural or human at this very junction, right? We bring in COVID and forest fires and so forth. How are you all equipping your staff with the resources that they need to ensure that they have everything that they need to be prepared and to, do their outreach and so forth?
Well, it goes back to number one, training and preparation of the staff. And so we have been ensuring that our staff has been receiving as much training, as much support as we can. And so last year, a lot of our staff completed postgraduate diplomas with Galen. We also have been sending people across the world to ensure that they received also the best training that we can provide to them. We've also been designing local training for NEMO staff itself, but also for the rest of the government. And so we have been participating with the University of Belize to ensure that there's now online training for public officers. We will continue to do that creating different modules for training for those people who actually have to do the work on the ground. And so we have been doing a lot of that, just ensuring that we have the basics to be able to do our work. It's not easy. We have to look at many different hazards, not only hurricanes. But we have to prepare for everything, really. Oil spills, accidents, any aircraft accident. And so the national emergency structure is not only for hydrometeorological events, but really for all events. And so it is a huge job, really trying to prepare for everything. But it's one of those challenges that we continue to face and take on every day.
So while we appreciate the overall scope of NEMO's responsibilities, NEMO for many people becomes a prominent acronym June to November because you automatically think hurricane. And hurricanes and NEMO go synonymous for many people, right? And then CEMO. So I'll use that now to segue to Melanie. I know that recently CEMO led its cleanup campaign here in Belize City in preparation of this particular season. Let's talk about that and perhaps what were some of the successes coming out of that activity.
Okay, great. Thank you. Yes, we started this cleanup campaign last year. Normally for the opening of the hurricane season, we would have a symposium, educating and having discussion with different partners and stakeholders. But what the mayor mentioned is, let's do something different. Let's get, boots on the ground. Let's do something physical to see, improvements within our drainage system within the city, because we all know that flooding is one of the major issues within Belize City. Last year, we hosted the first cleanup campaign, which we did notice drastic improvements with the drainage. We were here last week, and if you guys can remember, the assistant engineer mentioned, cleaning out the main outlets within the city, the drains. One of the ones we can see improvements with, and I know maybe you guys could, right in front of Freetown, the gas station, we use a sludge truck in that area, the vacuum truck, and we did drastic clean out within the drains, and now it doesn't flood as much. Within Belize City, we will have flood, for the mere fact, because we are below sea level. However, the runoff period is so fast, really fast. We've worked in targeted areas within the city that we find as vulnerable to flooding. So for the cleanup campaign, we had 130 of our staff out, being the operations staff from the works department, the sanitation department. We were working very hard. I mean, some of the drains, we took out plastic bottles, so many bottles, even like the big ones that you use, with the discipline in it. It was a lot of garbage.
We are so gross.
Yes.
Why?
Yes. But I mean, with all the work done, I do believe that the cleanup campaign will, make major progress within our flooding system. And What I do have to mention is this is not only for something that we do in June or preparation for the hurricane season. It's a task that the council does throughout the year, and we keep doing it on a daily.
I find like I applaud CEMO in its efforts to be that local space where you all prepare the citizens of Belize City for hurricanes. I'm hoping, Mr. Mendes, that this model can be applied to other areas.
We also have DEMO,
outlets,
right?
Yes, well, they're all unofficial names, but there is a district committee. In every district, there's a district structure. Every municipality has a function, so while it may now be called CEMO, every town and city council do have people who do the emergency management function. We are looking for on ways on how we can keep on strengthening the municipality. So we have been working with the United Nations Office for Disaster Risk Reduction in ensuring that Belize City has signed up to an initiative called Making Cities Resilient. We have had expressions of interest from Belmopan, Orange Walk, and Dangriga to join this initiative. And it's a series of steps, really, to lead the municipalities in the right direction to making these municipalities resilient. There's a series of things we have to do, ensuring there's plans, ensuring there's training and exercising, and really doing everything we can. So we are trying as much as possible to not only say we are ready, but we actually have the certification to say that, yes, this town, this city is resilient because it has implemented this program along with NEMO and the United Nations Office for Disaster Risk Reduction.
Let's go over to Ms. Tennille, our water expert, hydrologist, chief hydrologist, if you will. You all were not too long ago. You were here, kind of discussing, the reasons why we should be a little bit more grateful for the water sources that we have and so forth. During the hurricane season, how important is it that we ensure that these steps that we take to mitigate flooding, prepare for flooding and so forth, are taken seriously?
Okay, thanks for having us here today this morning. For us, it's at the very basic level. We can't live without fresh water. If we get up and we want to shower and there's no water, it's like we're in a frenzy. We catch anxiety attacks. You start looking at the 5-gallon bottle of water, like, do I need it to drink or do I need to bathe? We make these kinds of frenzied choices, but we don't make them unless we are put on the spot. The purpose of the hydrology service is to assist in all matters related to hydrology and integrated water resources management. So we just don't think about supply. We think about longevity. We think about variability. What does that mean when we're having events? And I don't say hurricanes because we can have events and we're in flooding stage. It might not be in the urban areas, so it's not highlighted as much, but in the rural landscape, yes. It's definitely something that we need to look at. So while everybody else is saying June to November, my slogan has changed, January to December, because it can happen at any time. So we always have to be prepared. We're not a 24-hour service as the Met service, but we do operate like that, and more so in terms of the normal June to November that we know about. So we're never resting. We're just a little bit less busy, but during June to November, it's when it gets really heightened. But we are on the lookout for June to November to happen anytime between January and December.
Yeah, I mean, we've had those odd cases where those hurricanes come outside of the hurricane season, right? So you have to be prepared at all times. But we do have to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll be having our same guest. We'll be discussing more on hurricane preparedness and what to expect this hurricane season. We'll be right back.
Tech Systems understand that technology isn't just a tool, it's a game changer. At home, smart devices and AI are revolutionizing daily life. In education, tech is making learning more interactive and accessible for students and educators alike. For businesses and government, it's driving innovation, streamlining operations, and unlocking growth, leveraging tech for better services, infrastructure, and security. At Full Tech Systems, we help you thrive with cutting-edge solutions, partnering with leaders like Dell, HP, Microsoft, APC, Fortinet, Cisco, and Tomy. We deliver the right products for your needs, whether it's boosting efficiency, improving customer engagement, or scaling operations. Connect with us and let's drive innovation together. Full Tech Systems, your technology center, where you come for the price, but stay for the service.
It's not just cigarettes. Vapes, hookahs, cigars, and other tobacco products all release harmful smoke and toxic chemicals. When you smoke or vape, that cloud doesn't just disappear. It becomes second-hand smoke and third-hand smoke that others breathe in. This smoke can cause cancers, diabetes, lung disease, and heart problems. It can kill anyone exposed to it. If you smoke or vape, step outside, far from others. We all deserve to breathe clean air.
In the heart of the Kanyo district, Calico Jacks is proving that sustainability and success can go hand in hand.
When Calico Jacks wanted to move to solar energy, the biggest difficulty for us was the finance. Belize Bank believed in our vision, and we are very happy and grateful that they gave us this opportunity for the financing.
Through the Credit Risk Abatement Facility, a partnership between Belize Bank and the CARICOM Development Fund, small and medium businesses can access financing for renewable and energy-efficient solutions with reduced collateral requirements.
Here at SCSB, we're grateful for Belize Bank to make it easy for our clients to go green. We're proud to work with businesses like Calico Jacks to help them lower their costs and their carbon footprint.
At Belize Bank, we are powering Belize's transition to renewable energy, one business at a time. Together with our partners, we're making sustainable financing accessible for all.
Belize Bank, financing a greener, stronger Belize.
Season 8 of KTV. I want, oh maybe. This is a moment. If you got the voice, the vibe, and the passion to live everything you've got on this stage. Mark your calendar and get camera ready. Auditions are June 6 and 7 from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. At a Greater Belize, Leisure Studios and Tony Drive, Belize City. Selected contestants will enter the KTV Season 8 competition, and the lucky winner will go home with a 10,000 grand prize. This is your moment. Are you ready? Are you ready? I want. This is your moment. Are you ready? Are you ready? I want. Oh, baby. This is your moment.
Welcome back. We're continuing our conversation this morning. It's all about hurricane preparedness as we go into the Atlantic season for 2026. With us is the Chief Met Officer. We're also joined by the National Emergency Coordinator, the CEMO Officer, and the Chief Hydrologist, right? So we have an extensive panel of experts this morning. I want to go back, excuse me, I want to go back a bit and talk about the deficit in rainfall for this year and the fact that it stands to affect those in the agriculture sector and other people who rely on water for industry.
Definitely. So I mentioned earlier that we are expecting an El Nino to develop. A very high probability, actually, over 90% that you may have an El Nino this year. And while that is good in terms of reducing the potential for a significant hurricane, although I said it only takes one, right? But The chances are a bit lower given the El Nino. That's a positive factor. There are negative factors as well, and that would be rainfall deficit, which is quite likely to occur during this rainy season and persisting into the dry season next year. So what does that mean? The normal rainfalls that you would get during this period would be lower. I know that we have seen the start of the rainy season quite on target, but we do expect that what we typically call the midsummer drought, or locally the MAGA season, will be more intense. That typically develops in July or late or August. It is quite likely it may form earlier this year, could be at the ending of June or early July, and persisting into August. So that would be a significant period with less rainfall than normal, which will significantly affect farmers. Another sector that needs to be on the alert, of course, is the energy sector. I know that we do depend on hydro power a lot, and we also purchase from Mexico, which also is hydroelectrical power. So if they're having deficit, it will also impact what they can provide to us. So certainly something that we need to be on the alert for. Other factors include heat stress. It's going to be hotter than normal during this particular rainy season. So that could be an impact on both human, animal, and plants, actually. So there are several factors that we need to be on the alert for and prepared for in this particular rainy season.
I find that you're all sending the message quite clearly, but what can we do as citizens to ensure that we protect ourselves?
I guess I would defer to.
Okay. Well, I think to protect yourselves, number one is understanding the hazards, understanding what we're even here to do. So it's really trying to understand what is a hurricane, what is a tropical storm, what is a drought, and understand where you live, and really trying to see where I live get impacted by flood. Is there potential for flood? Is there potential? So really, that's the first step: understanding where you are, understanding those hazards. The second thing to do is to start to make those plans and preparations, and to start planning not with the hope that it won't happen, but start planning with the idea that it will happen. And when it does happen, this is what I need to do. So you need to have a plan, some sort of plan. And I know that there are different people with varying kinds of resources. Ultimately, the best you can do is try to get information and know where to go. There's a lot of information already available. There's a lot that we have created, all of the departments have created. And so there's a lot of information out there. And so knowing where you are, knowing the hazards, knowing what to do, those are the most important things. Now, when we say prepare for hurricanes, we don't necessarily mean that you need to go and invest a lot of money. There's a lot that we used to do in the past, and these are the things that worked before, and so we need to look at those. And so think about multi-purpose things like just the normal buckets, which you can use for many different purposes. And so it's really trying to find that information, find those ways to prepare and to remain engaged, and to know that we are in the season, and that there's always the potential for something to happen. As Mr. Gordon said, even though we might be seeing a lower than normal season, for us it just takes one hurricane to make it a bad hurricane season. So we need to really keep that mindset and to keep preparing, keep engaging with all of the agencies, and just ensure that you know what's happening. So we have at NEMO, we have a network of 10 offices across the country. Every district has a district office, and you can find the names and the numbers of those officers on our website as well. And you can contact those officers and make requests to meet with them. If you're not sure what to do, you can call them and ask them, and they will provide you advice, and they will provide you guidance that you need during this season.
I think that what happens in the aftermath of a hurricane, that's when people really think about the effects of a storm. Every time we would report, if there is a hurricane here, you see the destruction of homes, you see the destruction of roads, you see all of this flooding and so forth. But coming back to the destruction of homes, particularly here in the city, Ms. Melanie, how are you all engaging with people perhaps that are in more higher risk environments, homes that are perhaps not as stable? How are you all engaging with them to ensure that they are prepared and they're safe during hurricane season?
Yes, like Mr. Mendez rightly mentioned, it's to educate, people, let them know what is the proper way to prepare. It not only goes down to buying groceries, you know, you also have to prepare your homes. One of the things that we are doing at the council is we are sharing information on tips on how to prepare your homes, what you can do to mitigate certain things. So what we try to do is send information out firstly, you know, clean your yard, make sure you limb your trees, because those can also be a factor of condemning your homes, you know. Also, you know, making sure that your home has the right the roofing straps. That is one of the major things we try to ensure that, you know, we keep the information out there. Another thing is to let them know that the garbage, you know, the garbage in their yards, make sure you clean those up. I mean, it all goes down to, you know, sharing the information, letting people know how to prepare, and giving them the right preparation tips.
You know what comes to mind when we talk about the aftermath of a hurricane or a weather system that has passed through? I think about Hurricane Lisa and all the debris that was left strewn across the city in its wake. But I also think of that collaborative effort with everybody, and I think it's one of the most commendable things that I've seen in all my life when it comes to dealing with the wake of a system. Government mobilizes all of these ministries that would be pivotal or crucial to helping. So you have like MIDH, you have City Council, you have Human Development, everybody comes in and helps. So much so that you wouldn't even think after a few days that a hurricane actually passed through Belize City and created all of this damage. And I'm hoping that it's the same idea or mentality that translates to any other part of the country, where if one passes through Dangriga, for argument's sake, that the same effort and initiative is placed to be able to assist. Because the quicker we're able to remove debris and get back to a sense of normalcy, the faster people are able to rebound and move on with their lives, right? When they live in a disaster-torn area, it's that in and of itself, excuse me, is depressing. Like, zinc there everywhere, garbage everywhere. How do you begin to pick up the pieces, right? And so like I said, my immediate reflection goes back to Hurricane Lisa and how quickly we were able to bounce back from that. That speaks to your coordination as well, though, right? So I'll refer this question to you, Mr. Mendes, in terms of being able to work with these other agencies, but also work with the Belize Red Cross, for instance, that kicks in for disaster relief efforts and what have you.
So that is a very good example of what NEMO is in Hurricane Lisa. So like I said, NEMO is not one organization. It is not me and my team going out to do it. So every time you see an MIDH truck, when you saw City Council, they were all working under the umbrella of National Emergency Management. And so that is what will happen in any district. If it happens anywhere, that coordination will be there. And so NEMO itself is a system of 14 different functions, and picking up disaster debris is also one of those functions. So it's an integrated system where every ministry is a part of this. Every department has a role to play, because we are not specialists at NEMO. I'm not a specialist in picking up debris. There's a specific way of doing it. There are dangerous items and things that need to be considered. So that is led by the Department of the Environment. When it comes to opening up of shelters and manning shelters, that falls under another ministry who are the specialists in those things. And so that system will continue to work for every event, not only for hurricanes. We saw it work in 2024 when we were dealing with forest fires. We had a multi-agency team, the Belize Defense Force, the Forest Department, the Red Cross, and it continued like that. The Red Cross is a very, very important partner to us. The Red Cross is one of those pillars that we rely on. They are at the highest level of NEMO. They are represented, and they are our partners in every district. And so you will see every time there's work, the Red Cross is right there with us, alongside us. And so in terms of engagement, we remain engaged. We are in constant communication with the Red Cross. I'm always on the phone with Ms. Bowman. and we keep on planning together. And so we will continue to support each other. And so we support them as best we can, and they support us as best they can. It's mutual, just really for the benefit of the public good.
I really wanted to stress to our viewers this morning that you all exist for pre-preparation and for post as well, right? Like post-disaster and all of that. And I find that majority of the time we tend to rely or believe that you have to be there for the post. And so for us as citizens, I keep stressing us as citizens because I think that I don't expect Mr. Daniel Mendez to come through my door the minute the hurricane lands and I have to figure it all out. That responsibility is for me and my family. So as much as you all are giving us tips, there's so many other spaces where we can find this information and so on. I keep stressing that the responsibility lies on the citizen to ensure that we follow through. I wanted to bring the conversation back to Ms. Tennille because we find that whenever the hurricane comes, we go buy shutters, we go buy nail, we go buy all of these different things, just in the event that something happens. But what are some other factors that we need to consider when preparing for a hurricane? And I know, Ms. Melanie, you touched on groceries, but other essential items like water. How are we to conserve and ensure that we have drinking water? I mean, we might not have to bathe for like 2 days, but like drinking water is extremely important, and to ensure that, a person could go without food, but they can't go without water.
Right, so you can't go without water for more than 3 days if you want to remain the same hydration that you should. We often see this when we start to feel tired, or our eyes start to sink in, or we feel dizzy. You have different health symptoms that you might have. I mean, it goes back to the very basic. Growing up, you have what we call pigtail bucket, your lard bucket. You go, you buy it. I think it's like $5 or $6 for the bucket. You well, maybe I have a good Chinese grocer that sells to me for $5. But you wash it out, your soap powder, your Clorox, you have the cover, you make sure it's clean. When hurricane time is coming and you hear from the Met Service, you start to have your phase 1, phase 2, you start filling up your buckets. And if you absolutely didn't get to do that, or you run out of supplies, the Ministry of Health always say there's an amount of Clorox that you put to the water, allow it to settle. When we're getting the rainfall, we don't have to buy that. We get these barrels, send your barrel.
Yes.
People get the barrel, clean them out, put them outside, make sure you have the little mesh netting. We call it what? Cheesecloth. Put your cheesecloth over it, catch the water, drop your Clorox in there. That's water. It doesn't have to come from the top. And when we do that, we reduce the pressures on the water supply systems. Because remember that they're now dealing with very turbid waters, a lot of dirty stuff, trees, rocks, debris. Ms. Melanie just mentioned about plastic bottles. Whenever you have an event, you see everything coming down the riverine system. And we always say that water is a natural solvent. It just takes time for it to dissolve certain types of material. So there are things that you can do that won't cost you that much to do. And so we would always say, do this. We already, the groceries, we have to get the shutters, we have to buy the board, we have to get the zinc, the nail, and everything just keeps piling up. This is one thing that you can prepare for before that will alleviate some of the burden. It won't get rid of it, but it will be one less thing for you to worry about. While it's raining outside, thunder, lightning, we're in a corner, the water is filling up in your barrel. You just need to make sure you have Clorox, or I think the Ministry of Health has some little tablets that you can get from them beforehand, and you have it. You find out how much water your barrel or your bucket can hold, so you put in the right amount, because we don't want to put in too much, because then it's not good. So we have to make sure that we have that balance. That's on the person, on the individual. On the agency side, like the Met Service, we have advancements as well to help us with this. The better their products are, the better our results are. So we look at things like having our hydrological outlook, which tells us about water availability, follows the same system, normal, above normal, below normal. We have the same traffic light if you want. We standardize across the Met and the hydro agencies. So we're piloting that with the Belize River. But the national plan is to have it for all watersheds because it's not just the Belize River.
Right.
We hear people say, you're always studying about the Belize River, what happens to the others? And we're like, yeah, there's a prioritization, but we're getting to everyone. You know, so we have areas like the north. We look at the New River. Everybody remembers the New River from 2019. So that's our next pilot area. Yeah. We have the Belize Water Services intake on the North Stank Creek River. That is our next priority. So our prioritization doesn't just go based on one factor. It's a multi-factor criteria system that we need to prioritize, but also you need resources to do that. We depend on global models. With Hurricane Lisa, we use a platform called GeoGlows, and it's a global streamflow forecasting system. So it was using our data for Belize, and so it helped us to highlight the areas that we expected severe flooding. And in our documentation, we know what severe flooding is. Yeah. In San Ignacio, historically it went up to 11 meters, which is about 33, 34 feet of water. It didn't reach that stage, but the system showed us that in that area it would have severe flooding. So all of these products help us to better inform the public. It's data, it's water level measurements, but what does that mean? Yeah. That is what we do. And so advances, we love them. I love hearing that the Met Service has a storm surge sensor because that helps me now with coastal flooding. I can say if I expect 6-foot storm surge in Belize City, that translates to about 10 feet of water above the surface. So now you have a better idea of what to expect. When we do our flood hazard mapping, we know the areas and how many feet of water you would expect in certain areas. They would say, okay, fine, the flood is coming, but do I stay? Do I move? Do I put sandbags? You know, so the more technology we get, the more resources we get, the better the products, the end products can be, and the better the decision making can be.
While you're on that, the Chief Med Officer spoke earlier about the rainfall deficiency, right? What's your way in from your end as to whether or not it would adversely affect farmers as well? Okay, so this is like a whole science lesson.
I'm here. I'm here for it.
There are different types of drought. You have meteorological drought, which is the absence of rainfall. That's usually very visible. Yeah. And then you have the hydrological drought, where we need the meteorological drought to happen. And so the hydrological drought just means that the water table keeps declining downward. So that's when you will see with your farmers with their root crops, the water table is below the very end of their roots, and so they start wilting and drying, and then we get that. Right. And so then that throws us into an agricultural drought. So you see, you need to have meteorological, hydrological, gives you the cumulative of an agricultural drought. So these can happen not really in parallel, but what you can see when one is going to lead to the other. Yeah. If I'm not mistaken, I think we use the SPEI for indications of a hydrological drought. What we also use is a satellite called GRACE, which is groundwater pressures under the groundwater resources under the pressures of human interaction. This tells us when it moves like a traffic light from green to orange to red, but that's on a large scale. We would then need to have that capacity to downscale that to Belize, because one tile fits the entire country, and that's not representative of the entire country. Yeah. You're telling me that the Maya Mountains and the coast is having the same groundwater reaction, which we know is not true. It's different. So you need to have the ability to downscale these global products to fit our reality. And sometimes when we watch regional things, we get the wrong picture because it's not downscaled to our reality. Yeah. You can watch it, but have that in the back of your mind, that if I want the downscale version, then I listen to the local agencies because they have that downscaling.
But I have a question in terms of that, right? We still, a lot of the flooding and the rainfall in, for example, Guatemala and Mexico, that does have a runoff and it does affect us. So you still have to monitor the regional weather channels, right?
Yeah, so for us, our borders don't stop at the borders.
Right, right.
You have what is called transboundary flooding, which means that Belize country might not be getting the rainfall, but we have Mexico getting excessive amounts of rainfall. We have nearby Guatemala getting excessive amounts of rainfall, and that runoff that channels into the river system, it then comes through that river system and flood us. So we deal with many types of flooding. We can't be myopic. We always have to be looking at everything, and so that's why we say hydrology is really a complex science, and it's integrated. You can't just look at water in Belize and say, okay, this is the situation.
Yeah.
And when you have that flooding in Benke and you're like, where did this come from? We didn't get any rain, and everybody starts questioning. But that builds the part of the public awareness and the information that we share, informing everyone that, you know, that this is a high possibility.
If I live in a flooded prone area, how can I help myself? Like, how do I mitigate it? If I can't move or if I can't leave, what can I do?
If you live in a flood plain and it normally gets flooded, it's something that you can't control. What you can control is how fast the water runs off, and that's where what CEMO did with clearing of drains, removing debris, that helps with the runoff processes. With Belize City, we also need to consider the tidal influences, because the tide stems the floodwaters from coming down. You need to look at your drainage, like Hallover Creek, the mouth of the Belize River. Some systems require dredging to improve your flood discharge function. So if you have blockage, it's the same thing. If the drain is blocked, it stays there, it attenuates it until it eventually finds a way to release itself. So there are some areas that we need to do hydrological studies, one which we have started with the Hallover Creek, in taking the discharge measurements to see what's the flood discharge function. We have the Burden Canal that exits or releases floodwaters that does not go through the Hallover, the Belize River. So Belize River comes, the flood comes down, some goes through the Hallover Creek, some goes out to through the mouth. Whatever is coming through Hallover Creek, if the Saboon River is not flooded, then that water can discharge. So it has what we call a reverse function. You know, usually you should go from top to bottom. It goes whichever way. Water will take the least part of resistance. But if we have two systems flooding, then we have to look at which one is discharging more water, and then that will then increase the concentration time or the resident time in Belize City, because it doesn't have anywhere else to go. It will go up and then it will spread out. So we have to look at many factors. Hydrology has insight into what we're not seeing. So we're trying to build on that in terms of looking at the flood discharge function, how efficient it is, trying to tying it into our flood hazard mapping so that CEMO, NEMO, everybody has a better idea of, you know, what's going to happen in the flood situation. But I'm not presenting a magic stick here. There's not a genie I'm rubbing in a bottle. We're just trying, you know, as we have resources to build this type of system so that the information does get better.
I could sit down and talk to you all about this. But as we are coming to a close in our hurricane preparedness conversation, I'll give you guys a moment to say a few words to our viewers in terms of how they can prepare themselves, what they can look out for from your various departments. So let's start with you, Mr. Gordon.
All right. So like I've said before, we provide 24/7 service. We're monitoring, we're tracking, and we're keeping an eye always on the weather. And certainly, just like the other agencies mentioned earlier, we don't work just from June to November. We work 24/7 all year round. We provide service, of course, to the aviation, the airport, so we have to remain open. But in terms of advising the public, like I have said before, and I repeat, there are a lot of information out there, a lot of sources of information. But if you're making a decision that will affect your life and property, listen to the official sources. There's the hydrology department, there is NEMO, and the Met Service that you should focus on. No? We keep developing, as hydrology mentioned. We are looking at different equipment. I mentioned the storm surge gauge. We have increased our weather station capacity. We do have an operating radar, which is very useful, not only by us, but actually by other countries. The National Hurricane Center in Miami, Florida, that is very popular here. uses our radar whenever there's a system making landfall near Belize to pinpoint the center of that system. So we have various equipment at our disposal, and we are here to provide that service and to alert the public. We do coordinate it with each other as well. Starting today, actually, we have our daily weather briefing between
This is the weather briefing.
every 11:30, so we work very closely in that area as well. So we are prepared, and we are here to alert the public.
Mendes.
So I think just to echo what Mr. Gordon said, really listen to the local experts, because as you have heard from the conversations, clearly these are the people that NEMO listens to, because they're the ones who know what's happening in our country. And so we highly recommend that you must listen to the Met Service, to the hydrology, flood forecasting, and also listen to things that come out of NEMO, because this is where our information comes from. Again, the second thing I wanted to stress is that today is now hurricane season. The time to prepare for hurricane season was yesterday, and that you are, if you haven't started, you're very late, and you need to get on. You need to get on the planning. There's a lot of information already available, and so it's there. If you're not sure, understand that there's a NEMO office in every district. Please call those officers. They will provide you guidance. If you're not sure, if you live in a floodplain, they can help you, and they will help you to plan and to make your own arrangements. But really, when it comes down to it all, the responsibility lies with the individual. It lies with the individual person, with the individual organization, the individual business, to really ensure that that is done. At NEMO, we will continue to do our best to support everyone and to keep our system as strong as possible, but it needs participation from everyone. So that is what I would like to leave everyone. The time to plan is yesterday, so yeah, get on it.
Ms. Melanie?
Okay, well, for me, I would like to let everyone know, please, if you do not have your family plans in place, please ensure to create one. It is very essential. A family plan entails, what you would need to buy, for your groceries in preparation for any event. Emergency contact numbers, if you need to evacuate, where will you go? So I do believe having your family plan in place, that will help you in the event, you need to make any decisions. And like Mr. Gordon mentioned and Mr. Mendes, please listen to the official sources, the Met Office, the hydrology, because a lot of people would come, they get the wrong information, and that would cause a panic, and that is what we do not want, getting the wrong information. On my end, from the Belize City Council, we will keep working. We will ensure to keep strengthening our preparedness within the city and continue to work with the agencies that are all here.
Continue.
Well, I don't want to reiterate what my other colleagues have said,
Yes.
but just to add that if you need to know anything about flooding, contact our office. We have our Facebook page, Belize National Hydrological Service. Many persons have my cell phone. It kind of became public.
Emergency contact.
Right. But we do have a number that we're going to have dedicated to the office to address certain concerns relating to our flooding. So yes, keep listening to us, asking us the questions, where the counterparts in country with the knowledge of how systems behave. And so, like we said, if you haven't prepared already, you have another day to get on it. So let's get on it.
All right, the weather app is available on Play Store and on your Apple Store. If you haven't downloaded that yet, now is the time to do so. The shelter contacts are available on the NEMO and the CEMO Facebook pages, so get on that if you're in an area that you require shelter. Thank you all so much for joining us this morning, and I'm sure you'll be back, because from now to November, we'll definitely need that reminder to be prepared. So thank you all so much.
Thank you for having us.
And we are going to take a quick break. We'll be switching gears to powering through the storm, how the Belize Electricity Limited prepares for hurricane season.
Some hands do more than carry. They prepare, they fix, they comfort. They keep a home moving in ways few people notice. And even when the day is done, they are still thinking of home. For the months of May and June, we celebrate the hands that hold the home together, offering you 25% off on tiles, lights, fans, ACs, gardening supplies, and more, both in-store and online. Thank you, moms and dads, from Builders Hardware.
Electricity is essential for everyday life, but behind every outlet, a lot is happening to bring you safe, reliable, and sustainable energy. Let's start at the beginning. Independent power producers across Belize generate electricity using a mix of renewable and non-renewable resources. Electricity travels across a network of high-voltage transmission lines capable of transmitting electricity across long distances. Electricity then reaches your nearest substation, where it is adjusted to a lower voltage, making it safe to travel on the distribution lines you see in your community. From there, electricity makes its final journey from the distribution lines to your home, providing you with safe and reliable power when you need it. Belize Electricity Limited. We continue to serve you.
Haven't updated your information recently? Well, kick off the new year as a winner. RF&G Insurance is giving you a free chance to win every month. Entering is easy. Just chat with us on WhatsApp and update your information. That's it. You'll be automatically entered into our monthly raffle for a chance to win awesome prizes. Don't wait. Message us on WhatsApp and update your info today. RF&G Insurance. It pays to get it right.
Life moves fast. Your connection should keep up. Need more credit? More data? A flex bundle that fits your lifestyle? With Smart Prepaid, they're a prepaid option for every lifestyle and budget, making it easy to stay connected wherever you are. Because with Smart Prepaid, you can connect on your terms. Purchase credit, data, flex bundles, prepaid plans, and all your favorite prepaid services at any Smart agent, Smart showroom, or simply dial *100# key. No stress, no waiting. Just fast, easy, convenient ways to stay connected every day. Smart Prepaid. Connect on your terms.
Haven't updated your information recently? Well, kick off the new year as a winner. RF&G Insurance is giving you a free chance to win every month. Entering is easy. Just chat with us on WhatsApp and update your information. That's it. You'll be automatically entered into our monthly raffle for a chance to win awesome prizes. Don't wait. Message us on WhatsApp and update your info today. RF&G Insurance. It pays to get it right.
Belize wakes up connected to opportunity. And across our country, the work to keep Belize connected continues. SMART continues expanding our network across the country, bringing stronger coverage to more communities. With recent service enhancements in areas at Blue Creek and Progresso, Belize City, Orange Walk, and more on the way. We're bringing education closer to home, empowering entrepreneurs to grow their businesses, supporting industries that drive our economy, and keeping families connected wherever life takes them. With every expansion, we are investing in the infrastructure that moves Belize forward. Because connection isn't just about signal, it's about opportunity, progress, and the future we are building together. Smart, bringing people together.
Welcome back to Open Your Eyes, and joining us for our final conversation. It's all about how BEL is preparing for the hurricane season. Joining us to talk about it is Mr. Zane Fitzpatrick, and he is the safety coordinator over at BEL. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
And Myrna Acevedo, she is the supervisor and the customer experience over at BEL. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. So we just came off of a conversation with the professionals over at NEMO and CEMO Hydrology and the Met Service on how they are preparing for the hurricane season. But another very important resource is electricity. How are you all preparing for the hurricane season?
Of course. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for having us. At BEL, we prepare from the end of the previous hurricane season. In fact, we're always working on grid reinforcement proactively, especially where vegetation management is concerned.
Yeah.
If you know, you might know that a high percentage of our outage during storms are as a result of vegetation management. So we go in heavy on that. We also check the integrity of our poles, our lines, our different assets that are out there. So we do that before the season, during the season, but we put a lot of legwork into that aspect of it. You may or may not know the way how the grid is designed is for safety purposes. So when we have a blackout, all right, we assume that someone or something has come in contact with the line, and so the entire feeder might drop. That's what we normally term a blackout, and this happens especially during a storm. All right, and so since we have the platform, and there was a mouthful said by the experts earlier about hurricane preparedness and what is expected of you, we ask our customers to help us, be our eyes, be our ears, where vegetation management is concerned. You can utilize the app to report vegetation that might be close to our lines.
How are you all assessing, because it's a big country to cover, but for example, we're just coming out of the dry season. A lot of forest fires had taken place that sometimes, not often, damage the pole lines. How equipped are you to quickly assess and be prepared at the same time for the hurricane season that's coming in June?
I mean, we have a plan that we go through. We exercise it at least 2 months before the hurricane season. We understand where our stocks are. We distribute to the different countries so that if we have assets that go down, we have the ability to fix it. If a pole burns down, like the example you give, we can replace that. We have our contractors on standby. So we are fully prepared, as we are every year. You know, and so the purpose here is to let the Belizeans know that we are prepared and we are ready for the hurricane if we are ever threatened by a storm.
For the benefit of our viewers, perhaps we could speak a little bit more about vegetation management, right? What it means and how residents should be able to, if not trim their own trees that are growing into your power lines, at least contact someone at the company so that you guys could come in and assist with that.
Right. So where vegetation management is concerned, we have a program that we invite individuals to call us with trees that are close to our line or have the potential to damage the line or come in contact with the line should they fall. All right. And so we at BEL ask the customers to call in advance. What tends to historically happen is just before the storm is done, we get a bunch of calls, all right? So we have the program all year around, and it has to be trees or vegetations that are close to the line or threatening the line. Not a mango tree back at the yard where you want to cut down long time, all right? It has to be the one that is threatening our line.
Yeah, you were talking about how citizens can also assist in ensuring that we are prepared in the event of a storm, particularly where our electricity is concerned. What do you mean by that? What can we do as citizens?
Call us when the vegetation are encroaching on the line. You can keep your yard free of debris, because these are the things, again, once these loose debris or vegetation come in contact with the line for safety purposes, to protect life, limb, and property, the entire feeder will drop, right? And I must mention that during a storm, we will keep electricity on for as long as possible, all right? And should power go down during a storm, which again, a high percentage of these outages are because of vegetation, all right? BL will respond when we get the all clear.
How can we save our electronic devices and our electric resources within our homes when there is a blackout?
Say that again.
How can we save our electronic devices and our appliances in the midst of a blackout?
In the midst of I always encourage that you have the surge protectors. There's these ones that they're sensitive equipment throughout our house, our TV or refrigerator, and we always encourage the use of those. During a storm, if you have to go to a shelter as a part of your plan, we always try to encourage you to turn off your electricity before you leave your home in an effort to protect your electronics as much as possible.
You spoke about a weather app not too long ago. Let's get Myrna in the conversation. Not the weather app, sorry, the Belize Electricity Limited app. Everybody have an app now. What is it, and what can we do with it?
Okay, so yeah, we do have a BL 24/7 app, which is essentially the easiest way to all things BL. Our customers can access solar services at their fingertips 24/7. So just to give a little bit of background information, the app launched in 2020, and since then we've done multiple upgrades through customer feedback, through in-person interactions to continuously enhance the app and ensure we include features that our customers want to see to meet their needs and expectations. So it is, since the launch, we have 117,000 registered users in our app, with about over 70,000 accounts linked to the app, where customers manage their accounts through there. Yeah.
And how does that help with the overall customer experience? Being able to one, keep up to date with what's taking place with the company and with their individual accounts, and being able to interface with you guys.
Yeah, so we mentioned it's where customers can access all our services. So also in who the app is for. So we have our customers, right? Because we said we can manage accounts through the app, but it's also for consumers. So as we're on the topic of hurricane restoration or the hurricane season, whenever the light goes off, it becomes everybody's business, right? So you do not require to be a BL customer or have an account in your name to be able to use the app. So some of the things that you can do is apply for all our services. So if you want to connect an account in your name, if you want to connect a new meter, if you want to close off an account, all of that you can do through the app and more.
Does the app work offline? You know, when the electricity go off, that means the data go off too.
Yes, it works offline to an extent, but I'm going into what all else we can access through there. So we said apply for services. You can manage your accounts. So you can manage up to 80 accounts in the app. So it is for the regular residential customer, it is for our commercial customers, if you're a property manager, or if maybe you're the person in the household who helps maybe a mom, you're going to be able to manage your electricity account, you can do that, right? We speaking about the hurricane season, we have a power updates feature in the app where customers can be in the know of all things BL. So through there we post educational content, notices, and of course outage notifications for planned, unplanned emergency. And that's where our customers can go to stay up to date with real-time information for hurricane restoration, if anything. Yeah.
I find that whenever the hurricane season comes, you don't think about these things until the power goes off. So how are you as BL, apart from the app, what are other customer services that you offer for people that perhaps are not tech savvy?
Yeah, so we continue to meet our customers where they are to serve them, right? So we're doing this, yes, through our app, because you can access our services wherever you are 24/7. But we also, our offices of Belize City and San Pedro remain open. We schedule appointments for customers. If you meet us through one of the mediums, and maybe your request cannot be resolved, it's either we meet you or you meet us, but we schedule appointments, we visit our commercial customers, we go to the communities that we serve through customer service pop-ups, where we provide all our services in those different communities as well. We remain available through our 0800 toll-free number, through email, and back to our app. Yes.
It's important.
It is. It is. No, I ask in the event that you have people that perhaps don't have data, or they don't have internet and so forth, and how they can reach you.
Or perhaps an elderly population who are not tech savvy.
Yeah. I find that like I said, when we are in the midst of a disaster, whether that be hurricane, whether that be forest fire, you don't really think about your electricity until it no longer exists, right? How as customers, particularly during this time, how can we ensure that we are being safe with our electricity? I know you're talking about getting surge protectors and so forth, but what are some other things that we can do at home?
At home, once the power goes off, guys, understand that BL is stressed out more than I don't know. All right, we're trying to find out what is going on to get your electricity back on as soon as possible. Again, there's not much you can do during an unplanned outage, but ask you to be very patient with us as we try to get the electricity back on. And of course, as Myrna mentioned, you can keep up with the updates through the apps.
Just to add to that as well, the app allows us to be able to submit reports as well. So if you're having a service issue in your area, you can do so through the convenience of the app, right? Where it be, I know Zane was talking about tree trims. So we do a lot of system improvement works before the hurricane season to try to minimize the impact. But to an extent, our customers are our eyes in the field, right? So if there's something out there, maybe that a tree that wasn't trimmed, you can report it through the app. If it's an unplanned outage and you're staying up to date through the power update section, you can help us. So you can interact with the app. Is maybe you're seeing in your area what's the cause. Send us some information through there that helps us to be able to zone in and restore our power.
So I have a question regarding this, the vegetation issue. When you guys go into a neighborhood, right, and you see that perhaps there's a tree that is either threatening or growing into your power lines, do you consult with the property owner before there's a trim, or do you guys just take it upon your own to do so?
If it isn't someone's private property, yes, we have to. If it's on the public property, then we of course communicate to the individuals who are around, indicating why we're doing it, why it is important that we do it, and of course try to do it as safely as possible and removing all the debris to be environmentally sound. There are times when we have challenges. Of course, we have to go through the law to deal with that. And under tight circumstances, we can tag in NEMO, who have a mandate to make sure that all of these things are removed. So, but a lot of time our customers work with us. I also want to take the opportunity to ask our Belizeans to be very proactive in planting your trees, right? You don't want to be planting a royal palm on one of BL's transmission line, because somewhere in the future it will become a problem.
On the topic that we were talking about in terms of what we can do and so forth, and reducing the way that we consume electricity. On Friday, Sabrina and I were having this conversation about, does it help if we plug out our appliances and our items every day? And we were back and forth with some of our viewers saying it's going to damage your appliances if you plug it out every day and plug it back in. What's the right way for us to do something like this? How do we reduce the consumption of electricity? Conserve, sorry. Yes.
Yeah. So our purpose also is to provide our customers with all the information that they need to make decisions regarding their consumption. So there are many factors that can cause big consumption that contributes to our consumption, right? We know that in hotter months, we do tend to consume naturally more electricity because it's hot, right? So maybe we're using the fans more, we're using the ACs more. Our consumption pattern changes based on time as well. So let's say during the summer, for some of us who maybe have kids at home, right? Although we have the same amount of people in the household, we are there for more periods of time using more electricity. So there are different things that we can do to ourselves and then encourage the little ones in our homes to conserve energy, turn off the lights when not in use, turn off the fans when we're, leaving the room, try not to open and close that fridge as often, right? But we do send customers the bills, the balances through SMS, through email, and of course available through our BL app, right? Through there you can view the balances, you can make payments, you can download bills. You're also able to see the usage history. So you're able to see on a month-to-month basis, comparing this year to last year, how much is it that I'm consuming last year versus this year? What is it that I need to do this year to be able to maybe bring down my consumption a little bit? And as a sneak peek, we know that we've been upgrading to AMI meters, so this will eventually enable us to be able, or we will be able to provide our customers with more granular data in regards to consumption, which will again help them to make decisions on their consumptions. So our customers can look forward to a customer web portal coming soon. AMI customers, where they'll be able to see on a more granular level how much is it that I'm consuming, so that I can be able to make decisions at home.
Wonderful.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. No, we were having the discussion about how we can, conserve our electricity. But again, the do's and don'ts of how to do that. I'm glad that that BEL has the space to be able to educate us. As we close off our conversation this morning, what are some tips and tricks that we can do as consumers to ensure that we have a safe hurricane season through BEL?
Of course, guys, have a plan. I think, again, the previous experts, they just said that have a plan, understand where you are going in the event that we are threatened by a storm. BL is on the ground, remain on the ground to ensure that our grid is sound, all right? And again, where BL is concerned, when we have an outage during a storm, all right, we will not respond until it is safe to do so. All right. Again, if you leave your home to go to a shelter, turn off your power, and stay safe. Stay safe. I take this opportunity to remind you guys, you can interact with BL through many mediums, especially the app. You are our eyes and our ears. You can report to us what's going on. You can keep getting updates through our apps, and we encourage you guys, if you haven't downloaded it as yet, please do so.
I know you said something about turning off your power just now, and you mean like out of the breaker?
The breaker.
Okay, just to check, because you have to make sure you give every single detail to our people.
Right. Turn off your breaker.
Turn off your breaker. Myrna?
Yeah, so just to add to what Zane said, stay up to date with the BL 24/7 app. If you haven't downloaded it already, we encourage our customers to do so. Users, everyone, it's very convenient. You can access all our services. If it is that there is talking about the hurricane season, if we need to be up to date with restoration efforts for outages, the app is the way to go. We have the power update section in the app. And if you need any support, we are here to assist. We are available through our 0800 number, email. And yeah, we welcome every feedback that you may have. If you're using it and there's something in there that you're not seeing, feel free to reach out. We're more than happy to hear.
Wonderful. Thank you all so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having us.
All right, we take a quick break. We'll be back to wrap things up. Don't go away.
Simply easy for you. BB Insurance, trusted and true. Clear policies assured. Fast claims too. No appointment needed. Just swing by. Locations countrywide where peace resides.
BB Insurance, your security, our priority.
Look here, your kitchen light there and you never in the kitchen. But I'm going back in there right now. And the coffee maker? Just to try to keep me the coffee warm for later. What do you do now? I'll try to think about what to eat. You know, the more you open or close the fridge, it takes longer for the food cool. For a hot day like today, it burns more energy. You charge your phone right now? No. Plug it out then. You really only to wash 2 Lee socks and 1 Lee shirt? You don't know what small load burn the same amount of electricity as large loads?
But this is my favorite shirt.
You have to be more energy efficient. Use large loads. This AC they blow hard. You know, if you keep the temperature at 25 degrees Celsius or higher, you burn less energy and you also keep the place cool. And for a nice day like today, turn off the AC, open up the house and make some fresh breeze come in.
You know what? I think I get it now. As consumers, we need to be more energy efficient and practice energy conservation.
Nokche Adventure Park came about from the birth of COVID. Everything was on pause for tourism. So we decided, you know, let's do something different. We got 10 bikes, 10 ATVs, and we were just doing ATV tours. Shortly after, we were approached by the cruise lines. We agreed to work with them, and from then it just started growing. We set up the chocolate tour first, and then from there we went into the culinary experience at the different Mayan cultures. We have like the gift shop, the cooking class, the shaman, and the healing, and it just all came together. When you reach a certain point, you need investors, you need partners to come into your business. Atlantic Bank just make it easy. Even my 7-year-old could do it.
Atlantic Bank, building the future together.
Dangriga, something big is coming your way. Open Your Eyes Summerfest 2026 is heading to the culture capital, Dangriga. Join us on June 12th at 6:30 a.m. at the iconic Alejo Beni Park for a morning filled with energy, excitement, and pure talent. This year, it's all about the kids, from singing to dancing, poetry to performances. If they've got talent, we've got the stage. Bring out the entire family and come celebrate creativity, culture, and the future stars of Belize. Expect fun, music, surprises, and unforgettable moments. Don't miss it. Open Your Eyes Summerfest 2026, where young talent shines the brightest.
Welcome back. We are wrapping up our Monday morning show. It is June 1st, and so of course all of our conversations were surrounding hurricane preparedness. Before we close off, Isani, how are you preparing for the hurricane season?
Well, I'll be honest in saying this, right? I think Daniel Mendes was speaking directly to me earlier when he said, it's not too late, but you're already late.
Yeah.
Today is the 1st of June, right? It's
indeed.
the first day of the 2026 Atlantic hurricane season, right? But I'll be honest, I have a plan.
Yes.
It's a matter of being able to put that into effect.
Yeah, as well. Here at home, we also have our plan, and hopefully we don't get affected by any major storms and hurricanes this season. But wherever you are, please ensure that you have a plan for your safety and for your family's safety as well. So we want to say a big thank you to our guests from the National Emergency Organization, from CEMO, from Hydrology, from the Met Service, and from the Belize Electricity Limited, who came in and had the conversation on hurricane preparedness this season. It is June 1st, and if it is your birthday today, happy birthday to you. And if you have a birthday shout out or just a question or a comment, you can drop us a line right here. That's oye@greaterbelize.com. You can also catch us on our social media on Facebook at Open Your Eyes BZ, on Instagram at OYE Belize, and on TikTok. I know some of you are waiting for our TikTok lives to come back. That's openyoureyes.bz. We also have a WhatsApp number at 675-2555. But please do us a favor and join us again tomorrow when you open your eyes
To start your morning right
Till then, keep your eyes, your minds,
and your hearts open.
Good morning, Belize. It looks like it's going to be a rainy day, so be safe out there. Bye.
Open Your Eyes was brought to you by the Belize Bank, our country, your bank, and SMART, bringing people together.